Hi there, and I guess this one is apropos for tonight. It's a late night video, and we're here in the Cauldron Comics. And for those of you, by the way, that have been watching and these Cauldron Comics on a regular videos on a regular basis, thank you so much. I know it doesn't get the views that some of my movie videos get, but I work really hard, so I really appreciate you. Thank you. And tonight we're talking about I'm talking about omnibuses and little fact things. But before I started collecting those big beasts that we call an omnibus, I actually used to collect these telephone type books called Showcase Presents if they were DC, and Marvel Essentials if they were Marvel. But we're going to be talking about the Showcase Presents ones and a specific type in particular. I'm a horror fan, and I grew up reading the EC comics. Obviously, I wasn't of the age. I'm not that old. It's my birthday today, but I'm not that old. But I grew up reading, well, the reprints. When I was younger, we couldn't even get those. But as I got older, they're the Gladstone reprints of EC comics that came out. And I think as I got into like either high school, there was the thick ones. We were in 64 pages, and half side would be Tales from the Crypt, half side would be Vault of Horror, half side would be Haunted Fear, half side would be something else. And but for me, in my era growing up, there was House of Mystery, and House of Mystery had Kane as the host. Eventually, Elvira would go on when they retooled to be the host, but the classic House of Mystery, the really good stuff, was Kane, and they actually did have an ongoing storyline called I, Vampire with Andrew Bennett. Now, I, Vampire was revamped and changed in the when the New 52 came about, and I think if you want that run of it, it takes around 3 volumes to get. The original run of I, Vampire with Andrew Bennett, I don't know if that's ever been collected anywhere. So let's hope that we get more House of Mystery out there. Now, I do have some of these here Showcase Presents to show you guys tonight. I have 4, and we'll start off not with House of Mystery, but with House of Secrets. And as you can see, that's a Bernie Wrightson cover right there. And this one right here has the first appearance of a little guy known as Swamp Thing. And what's kind of ironic here is in this picture right here, he doesn't so much look as like Swamp Thing as he looks like a cross between Man Thing, who had come out about a month or 2 earlier, and a character called the Heap, where Swamp Thing and Man Thing got their pretty much got their whole idea from, and he came out back in the 40s. So, but this one here collects issues 81 to 98 of House of Secrets. We got stuff here like Bernie Wrightson doing art. We got Alex Toth, Wally Woods, Neil Adams, Jim Aparo, Jack Sparling, and Sergio Jonas, who I was lucky enough to get to meet in my first comic convention. And he was one of the nicest guys that I've ever met. I bought the Sergio Jonas comics off of him, and I got them to autograph them. And when he gave me back the money from the comics, like, because he gave me back the change, I realized that he'd give me back like $10 too much. So I went back to his table, gave the money. He didn't want to take it, even though it was his money. What a great guy. I should get the Gru comics down the road too. But I remember issue 1 of Mighty Magnar had this like fold-out cover, pop-out cover. So the way these were done is the artwork's still good. I mean, like, these are in black and white, so that is the one thing to take away from them. The spiritual successor to Showcase Presents wouldn't be like an omnibus. It would be what you'd say, well, for Marvel, for the spiritual successor is kind of like what's called the Epic Collection. For DC, I guess it is an omnibus. You know, the silver, gold, bronze age ones that they do. But you can see there's actually do a really good job on the artwork here. There is a table of contents for every one of the stories, so if you wanted to look one up. So just give you an idea of some of the people that worked on some of the stuff. So the issue that 92 that Swamp Thing was in, also right after that had a story called After I Die, written by Jack Kirby. Yep. And Mark Evander. Evander. I hope I got that right. Or pronounce it right. So there's a whole, like, Bernie Wrightson's all over this book. Alex Toth is in here as well. We got Don Heck doing art in this book. It's just some incredible stuff. Now, the brother of Cain, Abel, right there, is the host of House of Secrets. And these are pretty morose, like kind of cool twist ending storylines. Some will have like some shorter stuff. When they say Sergio Jonas, there's sometimes some type of little kind of joke things in between that they did, and I love these issues. House of Mystery was more of my jam back in the day, but I really fell in love with House of Secrets when I bought this. And here's an example, like Abel's Fables. Anybody that's ever read a Mad magazine will recognize that artwork immediately. Let's leave the House of Mystery for last and go right into the Secrets of Sinister House. Now, the neat thing about this is this did not start out as a horror comic per se. This started out as pretty much a gothic comic, and not just any gothic comic, but kind of almost a dark, shadowy type vein. The Sinister House of Secret Love. There you go. Artwork in this is phenomenal as well, by the way. We got people in here like writing, but like Len Wein, Jack Olak, and Shadow Meyer. We have Tony DeZuniga doing art in here. Michael Kaluta, you'll know his artwork as soon as you see it. Alex Toth is gone over in this one as well. Do we get a... We do get a whole table of contents in there as well. So let's see if there's anybody here that stands out that is not mentioned on the back. We have a few, like Alfredo Alcala was an incredible artist. Worked a lot with it was pretty much the part of the, what they call the invasion that came out of these really amazing artists. We got some Sergio Jonas here as well. He did the Witch's Tale, like little kind of one-shot things that were done here at the comedy ones. There's a whole ton of like great artwork in here. We got Sinister House of Secret Love, #1, right up to, well, 4, because it was only 4 issues when they realized, let's turn this into like a horror anthology just like the rest of them. So at issue 5, it's changed to the Secrets of Sinister House, taking up the love part, and even the kind of the love, like we got a Don Heck story starting out right here. Even though the love part wasn't too bad, we still had the kind of the mystery in that of it. Now the host in this one here, I can't remember the character's name, but I think it was a witch. She was a witch. You can see, like, look at this artwork here. Just like, it's incredible. Even the black and white. Like, for me, one of the reasons about this now, little known fact about me, I guess, is that I did go to school for art, and yeah, I went to school for a lot of things, didn't I? But yeah, I didn't follow it up afterwards, but I did go to art school. And one of the things that I liked about these here black and white ones is I really love looking at the pencils and the way things are penciled. And this got me like a really good look at this. They have like prose stories in here as well. Like, I just love that. I love that type of stuff. Now, my dad had grown up not just reading the EC comics, but reading ones that he kind of like let me know about, which were the Warren publications, the creepy and the eerie stuff. The original one that they put out, and Vampirella, was with another Warren Publishing title, but creepy and eerie, they could get literally very creepy and very eerie at times. There's the witch right there. That hosts this one. Now, House of Mystery, this one was definitely my jam. Now, this one I've read so much that this is one of the problems with some of these here is you got to be careful with the binding. But to be fair, this one has traveled with me quite a long ways. And so some pages are kind of loose, or just, it's pretty dog-eared. And one thing you can say about a book that's gotten dog-eared is it's a book that you really like, something that you've gone back to. And this one here is, so basically, House of Mystery 174 to 194. That's pretty much where the whole, like, that era of the House of Mystery starts. Over 500 pages, and it is so good. We have Neil Adams, Jack Kirby, Brynnie Wrightson, Alex Toth, Gil Kane on here. Gil Kane did some amazing work. His Conan work, by the way, is really good. I know Big John Buscema is pretty much renowned for his Conan work, but Gil Kane, incredible work. Wally Wood on here, of course. Wally Wood did so much stuff for EC as well. Al Williamson and Sergio Jonas in here. We got writers like Len Wein, Marv Wolfman, Robert Conagher, Jerry Conway, and many others. Now, Conagher is probably best known for things like his war tales, stuff like The Unknown Soldier and Haunted Tank, or that's what I know him best for. And when you look at there's a lot of these here that were written back in the day, and writers and artists sometimes were unknown. So there's like the first story here, by the way, The Wondrous Witch's Cauldron, art by Lee Ellis, but the writer is not known. It could have been a staff writer, could have been just that maybe Lee Ellis actually kind of wrote it and just didn't take credit for it. But often you'll see this happen here too. Like Come a Warrior, for instance, is in one of the issues here, and that's written and penciled by Gil Kane. So Gil Kane is normally like an artist, but it's good to see some writing from him as well. We got some stuff by George Orlando in here. There's just some amazing stuff. And right from the beginning, we get some incredible stories, incredible artwork here. And I'll just like pick a random. There's another Sergio Jonas. I love these. See, I'll just put this right here for a second. If you want to like pause it and like look at the comic, you can do so. But here we have the infamous Kane. Now, Cain and Abel would be used in Neil Gaiman's Sandman comics years later, and House of Secrets actually would kind of get its own very, very different Vertigo comic that I go back and forth on. I prefer the old, like, classic anthology horror. That's why I really like the early, like, Xenoscope Grimm's Fairy Tales issues that they did before they got too steeped into mythology of them. But there's some great stuff here. Now, I don't only have Volume 1, I also have Volume 2. I remember reading through all this as well. I've had that one for longer, so it's been more dog-eared. It's the most dog-eared book in my collection, I think. This has 195 to 211. Again, you're going to recognize these names here. Jack Kirby, Brynnie Wrightson, Alex Toth, Gil Kane, Wally Wood. We've got Nick Cardy in here as well. He did a lot of the early stuff. He wasn't mentioned. Michael Cluto, Sergio Jonas, and pretty much the same host of writers on here as well. And this runs in around 150, 545 pages, 540, 50 pages. That's pretty much how the way all of them go. I love the early House of Mysteries covers. They're almost like Warren-esque in their minimalistness. I'm gonna do like a video on kind of like I might take a couple on the history of some of the horror comics. I want to talk about EC. I want to talk about Warren Publications. Talk about some of the early stuff that was done, because there was some amazing stuff that came out, and there's a whole like group of artists that came from this era that helped really kind of revolutionize and change what was being done. But I gotta say, just looking through this here, I want to read every single one of these again. Look at that art. There's some creepy stuff in here. If you're wondering why I'm not talking about any particular stories really in here, that's because I do want to go through these, and I do want to eventually review those. Why have I waited on certain ones to review, like certain ones like that may have make it a bit more interest? I'm hoping to build up the actual viewership on the Cult of Comics to the point where I can come in and I can talk about House of Mystery, I can talk about DC Comics, Tales from the Crypt, I can talk about Vault of Horror, and you guys will hopefully be here to listen. So there you go. My name is Aaron. Thank you so much if you joined me here at the end to the end for Cult of Comics, and if you did, let me know down below by gotta get a code word, right? Sure, why not? just put heap down at the bottom in the comments, but I'm sure you want to put more than that. Let me know what your favorite horror comics are, which ones you've collected, which ones you want to collect, and what ones did you read when you were a kid that might have kept you awake at night, scared you? Because there's a few back in the day, especially some of the earlier titles, some of the off-brand titles that you wouldn't even imagine that bothered me. There was a Gold Key comic in particular, but that is a story for another day. I'm Aaron. Thank you for joining me here in the Call to Comics. Remember, there's always another comic, but there is only one of you. So treat yourself well, be kind to others. I'll see you again in the darkness of the cult of comics.